Hello, my name is Roger Buskill, and I'll be your instructor, or maybe facilitator as we might call it, in your culminating undergraduate experience, ELFH 540. Hello, everyone, and welcome to ELFH 540, your culminating undergraduate experience. With this introduction, I'm going to go through the website, show you where everything is located, how grades are going to be organized, and a little bit about some of the assignments that we'll have this semester. So let's go ahead and get started. As you can see here, this is the default page, which is the announcements page. And one of the things about this is whenever I send out an announcement, I will duplicate that as an email. So you'll get those on your tablets or smartphones right away. And then what I recommend is you will go back and check the Blackboard announcement page itself. Sometimes there might be graphics involved, which might not show up on your external device. So let's take a look at our Blackboard site. The first thing I want to show you is the due dates themselves. So obviously you're all involved in the application and you should have had those turned in by now. So they are due in the semester prior to the start of class. You will have a contract that's signed by your supervisor and myself. And actually, whenever I approve the contract via your Blackboard grade, and actually when I grade your contract and approve it, that will act as my signature as the university coordinator. You'll fill out a resume, create one that you would send to a prospective employer. You should have already completed the competency self-assessment from 300 because in your application in item 2 you have copied some of that data over. We'll talk about the product list and product matrix and list of products later, but it's actually your 10 best products from your Hallmark assessments. There will be an evaluation at midterm and final. You will keep an activity log, which you'll turn in that I will review at midterm and final. And of course, you'll write your Hallmark assessment. In this case, it's simply a report that you write, and you'll see the rubric for that, and that's due at the end of the semester. One thing about your fieldwork products, these are worth 15 points of your final grade, and you will include those, what they're going to be on your contract itself. And these 10 best deliverables, that's what you have uploaded them in the sections of the portfolio, and I'll talk more about that and more about the portfolio later. And then there's that final final evaluation by your fieldwork supervisor. You will write summary statements for your portfolio. We'll talk more about that later also. Your quality of portfolio, I will actually share a template of your portfolio with you that will be kept as a live text document, it's called. And whenever you finish that portfolio, you'll get up to 5 points as to the quality of it. And then finally, we're going to keep a weekly journal. And I'll show you where that is as we go through the assignments. And you simply just type in, or you would just write about what you learned that week. So you'll be keeping me up to date on your activities of your field work. Let's look at the assignments themselves now. I've got them laid out in the portfolio and a fieldwork Dropbox, it's called. So in the portfolio Dropbox, if you do not have that program competency self-assessment, you can download it here. But hopefully you will have that because you'll need to finish that and then upload the data from the bottom of that spreadsheet into your application. There's where the resume is going to go, the product matrix list of products, the summary statements. So all of these are files that you will upload as assignments in this Dropbox, but they will also have a location on your portfolio. So let's go to the Fieldwork Dropbox now. This is where you could download your application if it's not already been sent to you. Here's where you're going to keep your weekly journal. And the way that is laid out, what you will do is create a journal entry title it with your last name. And then for week 1, you tell me what you did that week. The following week, so you type in what you did for week 2. So you're going to have every week of the semester you will edit that journal entry. In this case, I'm just going to cancel it. So what will happen is I will be able to see all of your journals, but they will not be open for anyone else to see. So anything that you've done for the week, you want to type in, you want to tell me about it. Any issues that you might be having with your field work, anything in particular. Doesn't have to be exactly field work related, but that's usually going to be the case. So that's going to be a weekly journal that you will keep. Back to our field work. Here's the contract that I'm going to review just in a minute, and the evaluation. You will keep an activity log. So these 3 I'm going to review in just a little bit. But then you'll have the final log sheet, and this is where you upload your final products based on what you have identified in your contract. And this is the final fieldwork evaluation. Your hallmark assessment paper, you'll upload that in a few locations. You'll upload it here so that I can record your grade, but you will also upload it to its hallmark assessment task, just like any other hallmark assessment. And then there's also a location for that on your portfolio. So these are basically everything that you're going to be graded on for the semester. I mentioned I was going to show you some specific files. The first one I want to show you is the Fieldwork Activity Log. So you would type in your student, your name here, how many hours that you enrolled in the class. This could be at a minimum of 2, depending upon which program that you are in. If you're in the recent program within the last maybe couple of years, you would enroll for 2, but you might enroll for 3 if you are lacking an hour. So this is where we can make it up. So that's something that you work out with advising. So however many hours that you enroll in this course for, you type in right here, and it's usually going to be 2. So the way it's calculated is if in this case, if you registered for 2 credit hours, the minimum contact hours for your field work would be 50. In other words, 2 times 25. But if you are registered for 3 credit hours, then that would be 75. Now this figure is a minimum number of hours for your field work. It should probably not end exactly on 75, even though when you type in a value here, let's say you've typed in the date for the particular activity, so it automatically puts it in the correct date format. Type in the description of the activity, and let's say that was 1 hour. Let's say that you typed in another activity, and that was 2 hours. Make sure you enter them in numbers, so you could have a 0.5 hours maybe for a phone conversation, or a 1.5 hours for another activity. So they really just need to be in half-hour increments. But let's take a look at what happens then at the bottom of the spreadsheet. It automatically totals the number of hours that you have typed, that you've keyed in, and actually gives you the number of credit hours that you've earned. So it's important that you type these in numeric values, because this is a calculated field. One thing about your descriptions, they should be in good detail, complete sentences, and actually anything, the more hours there are, like a 1 hour entry might have a sentence or so as a description. A 2 hour entry would probably have a couple of sentences. A half-hour entry would be just maybe a phone call. But let's say we had a 4-hour entry. That should be a pretty good descriptive paragraph, 4 or 5 sentences explaining what you've done. So in essence, the more hours that you have on an activity, the more description that it's going to be. And that's kind of a rule of thumb, not necessarily in all particular cases. It kind of depends on the activity. One thing that you should not do is describe activities such as filling out the different forms, like this particular log, or your resume, or any of those other documents that are not a part of your field work. So that's about it on the activity log. You would probably want to try to keep that, and as soon as you finish an activity for your field work, you probably want to go and enter that right away. So that's probably enough on the Fieldwork Activity Log calculator. There again, there's a due date for it on the midterm, and then there'll be an inclusive activity log for all of it at the end of the semester also. First thing I want to look at is the Fieldwork contract. This is the contract that you and your fieldwork supervisor will fill out. You'll actually fill it out, and you'll be working with them on this contract. So there's a place for your name, your place of employment, your phone number, your supervisor's name, the location of the field work, your supervisor's email, and your supervisor's phone number. There again, how many hours you registered for the class, 2 to 5 usually. The contact hours, 50 to 125. The term, in this case, fall 2016. And the approximate completion date of your field work. So let's look at some of the other requirements now. You need a terminal objective. This objective states the end result of your field work. In other words, how will the organization be improved as a result of your consulting with them? And that's how you really need to think of this, is you're acting as an independent consultant for that organization. So how they will be improved, that would be your terminal objective. Now you'll have a number of enabling objectives. In other words, these objectives are stated in terms of a performance with an action verb that allows the terminal objective to be attained. So you'll have one 10,000-foot view here for your terminal objective. How are you going to get there is through the enabling objectives, and there will be a few of those, 3 to 4 to 5 maybe, depends on how much involvement you are going to have to reach that terminal objective. And then what are the activities involved in each enabling objective? There might be 1 or 2 or 3 activities. And next is the description of the products. You should have at least 1 product per enabling objective. And these products are 15 points of your final grade. So if you have an enabling objective here, a few activities to conduct for that objective, and then what's the end result of the product? Is it a Word file that's a needs assessment? Is it a training PowerPoint? Is it an Excel spreadsheet as a result of a survey? So is it a PDF file that shows survey results? Whatever that document is, you'll need to describe it right here. And it should be enough documents that warrant 15 points of your final grade. This gives you a chance to show off, if you will, the knowledge, skills, and abilities that you have gained over your curriculum. So they should be good quality products. And then, of course, what's the prospective completion date for each one of those products? And then finally, I will approve this when I grade it, and it's worth up to 5 points. And your workplace supervisor should sign it and date it also. And then obviously there's a place for your signature. So that's the contract. I want to talk about one more item now, and that's your performance evaluation. There again, type in your name. name of your workplace supervisor, and then you should circle if this is the midterm evaluation or the final evaluation. So as a student, you need to type in all the enabling objectives as stated in the contract in this column. And then your supervisor is going to put a check mark beside that enabling objective, as in no progress to date, which will be okay if that particular objective is due towards the end of the semester or before the midterm, or if there's satisfactory or superior progress. So there's just a check mark for each one of the enabling objectives. And it's a good idea if your supervisor writes in some comments concerning your performance as a student, and they should put some supervisor comments right here. And then your supervisor will sign it and you will sign it, and of course date it. So what will happen, you will fill this out with the enabling objectives. You will then, along with your name and your supervisor's name, and then you'll print it out, because the supervisor then will write some comments and sign it, and you will sign it, and both of you date it. And then what you will do is upload this as a PDF file with those signatures. So that's about it for the fieldwork performance evaluation. But there is a direct relationship between this evaluation, because this is where you type in rekey your enabling objectives, and the enabling objectives as stated in the contract. So let's go back to the Blackboard site now. And so I will have weekly contact with you through announcements duplicated as emails. It is up to you to keep up the weekly journal to keep me informed as what you've been doing for that week. And those are due every week. So that's all for now.